Good afternoon, good afternoon. All right, guys, we are on week 3, and this week you have your simulation with Crossing the Chasm. So what I wanted to do this week is just go over some of the key concepts that we have been discussing and show you how it all fits into place. Now, I'm not going to go over every single strategy that we've gone through since the beginning of class. That's a lot of different elements, and I think some of them are pretty self-explanatory. But there are a couple of them that I want to spend some time with, and you can see them outlined here. Swot, targeting, technology adoption lifecycle, CTQ, and the whole product. And what I want to do is I want to go through these right here just to give you a base as a business owner or an executive, how you use these different tools as you approach a situation, all right? So first I'm going to focus on SWOT. So we know that SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And we've all seen this probably in the past, but so many times when we do a SWOT analysis, we approach it as a tedious tool. When it's not, it is really a very effective management tool that you can keep in the toolbox to use on a various basis. So how can I use SWOT? Well, you can use it in a number of different things. Some of you are managers right now. You manage teams and you manage staff. So let me ask you a question. As a manager, do you want to put your employees and your staff in positions to succeed or positions to fail? Well, any manager, hopefully you would say you want to put them in a position to succeed, and that is correct. So SWOT actually is a very, very, very effective tool to help you do that. So how do we do this? All right, well, let's start with strengths. You look at your employee. What are they good at? What do they excel in? What type of situations do you know that you have pure confidence that they can manage? And what type of situations are they confident that they can manage? What skill set, what experiences? What are their strong points, all right? It's important to know that. So what you would do is, as a manager, you look at your staff and you take a specific individual and you would list out those different elements. What are they good at? What are their strengths? What are their talents? What situations have they risen to the occasion? Now, we are all good at things, and on the same note, there are things that we are not so good at. So let's take a look at the weaknesses. For that same exact staff, and for that same exact employee that you have, you already know what they're good at. Okay, what are they not good at? What are their weaknesses? What do they struggle with? What are some situations that they just do not have the experience on how to manage? What things come challenging to them? And you make a list. This is actually an exercise you can do with your staff one at a time to help improve their performance. And you make a list, and it's an open, honest conversation. Listen, we're not all great at everything. It's okay to have weaknesses. So now you have these two elements laid out. So you know what you're good at, and you know what this employee is not good at. So now you want to look at your opportunities. You want to look at your opportunities. Okay, so here are the strengths, here are the weaknesses. What opportunities in the company are best served for this employee based on what they're good at and what they're not? What situations will they excel in? What situations can we put them in? What situations do we know that if we had them manage these situations, they'd hit a grand slam every time? Those are the elements that we want to put that individual in. On the flip side, let's talk about the threats. Based on their weaknesses, what situations might they fail in? What situations might we not want them to manage? What situations might we want them to avoid? Those are the situations that we want to look at right now. Now, threats can be a positive down the road. You can change your weaknesses, and you can practice, and you can advance, and you can turn weaknesses into strengths down the road. But what we need to talk about is, listen, I'm not an accountant. I'm not a finance major. You do not want me to be your accountant. That is just not my strong point. That is a weakness. But obviously, there's all the things that I am great at. So same thing with your employees. What are they good at? What are they not? What opportunities will help them excel? What areas might be a threat that is in line with their management style that we might want them to avoid? Okay? That is talent management. And that's how you can use a SWOT very effectively in your everyday business. Now that we've talked about SWOT on an employee example, now let's talk about it from a business example. Now we're going to take this a little bit deeper. So now we're going to talk about our SWOT. Let's say you are a small business owner, or you manage a department, or you're a product developer, okay? All these different things. It's very important for you to know, same thing. What are you good at? What are you not good at? What do you have that's in your favor? What do you not have that's in your favor? I'll give you an example. I have an uncle. He is from Italy, migrated here when he was a youth, and he is actually a 5-star gourmet chef. He trained in Italy. He worked at a number of top-end establishments up in the Northeast. He's retired. Obviously, with his age, he is not the ideal person to be cooking on a regular basis because of the strain that it has on your arms and the hours and the time that you got to stay on your legs. But he contemplating actually opening up a restaurant. So what is his strengths? What is his strengths in this situation? Well, number one, he realizes that he knows how to cook. That's a fact. He has personal experience working in 5-star restaurants. That's a fact. He knows an endless supply of gourmet recipes. That's a fact. But let's dive a little bit deeper, right? In a number of your cases, I said use more numbers, use more facts. Well, so in this situation, one of the things that he's very good at is understanding what foods taste great, but are budget effective for the restaurant. He can actually make those calculations, and he's very good at that. He understands how much time it takes to make certain foods and what foods can be done very quickly, which should be on the forefront, and what foods are more on a specialty level. He also understands how to manage a kitchen as far as prep time, what foods can be prepped and what foods need to be fresh. And you can actually put quantitative stats and figures in each and every one of those. So those are the strengths. Now let's say, what are the weaknesses? Number one, he doesn't have the capital to open up a restaurant. He doesn't have the capital. He would have to manage an entire staff. And though he knows people in the industry, I don't think that is one of his specialties to actually manage individuals on a regular, ongoing basis. And that's crucial if you're going to be owner, unless you can find a very good general manager. But then what happens if you don't find a good general manager? Okay. So those are just some of the strengths, and those are some of the weaknesses. So what opportunities do you have? And what are some threats? Well, you can open up a restaurant. You can open up a gourmet Italian restaurant. But then some of your threats would be, can you actually get the financing? Can you actually get approved for the loan? Do you have the cash flow to actually help you sustain this restaurant as you're waiting for the business to pick up? Do you have that clientele that comes in? Okay, those are some of the threats that you can think of. Opportunity. Well, top notch with food. He knows his recipes. He knows how to manage a kitchen. He knows how to, as far as time and cost, how to manage these different entities. So what did my uncle do? He looked at this situation, and he looked at the different opportunities that are in line with his strengths, and he looked at what to watch out for as far as his weaknesses. And one thing he concluded was, at his age, he doesn't have the desire to work in the restaurant 80 hours a week anymore. So it'd be very difficult for him to open up a restaurant to get that initial staff kicked up. Also, as far as capital, he could easily get a loan, but he doesn't have that cash flow to keep that restaurant operating. So that was a challenge. But he's really good at cooking, so what opportunity can he do? Well, what he ended up doing is he ended up creating a private chef service where if you had a party of 6 or a party of 10, he would actually go to the party, go to the person's house, he'd shop for the ingredients, make the food there, explain exactly what the individuals are eating, talking about the different types of flavors, and make it an experience. And he's very successful at it right now. But that gives you an example of finding out what you're good at, what you're not good at, really understanding what your threats are, and looking at the opportunities that you can capitalize on. That is SWOT. And it's not, all when I was through my college years, I just saw SWOT as a tedious exercise because no one really explained it to me. So I want you guys to take this a step further and really understand what we're doing here at SWOT. It's very simplistic. All we're asking is, what are you good at? Or what is your staff good at? What are you not good at? Or what is your staff not good at? Or what is your company not good at? What opportunities can we exploit and capitalize on in this great capitalistic society that we live in? What opportunities can we capitalize on based on our strengths? But what threats and what do we need to look out for? What do we need to look out for as far as threats go based on what we're not good at? Okay, so that's SWOT. So this is going to end this first video, and then the next video we're going to go over targeting and technology adoption lifecycle.